Hello, welcome back to Bach Tower Gardens. We're here for another installment of Camp Bach Take a Hike Tuesdays. Today, we are going to go through the gardens today and show you some of our favorite places. So today, the education staff, we're going to take you on a hike to places that we seem really like the best here at Bach Tower Gardens, but there's so many more for you to see when you come and visit us. So during the hike today, we want you to like, comment, and share of the places and things that you see. So my name is Stephen. I'm a garden educator here at Bach Tower Gardens, and one of my favorite places is here in the Pine Ridge Trail. Here in the Pine Ridge Trail Preserve, we're restoring Florida natural habitat back to the way that it was back in the olden days before many of the groves and people disturbance happened. And here on the Pine Ridge, it really does show us how different the plants are here in Florida, especially on the Lake Wales Ridge. The Lake Wales Ridge is a really sandy area, sort of raised up high, and because of those unique growing conditions, we have a lot of unique plants that are native just here to Central Florida. So we have a lot of wildflowers in bloom today, this morning. So this purplish blue flower is Camelina erecta, and there's a couple of non-native versions that look just like it, but this is the native version, and you could tell from the three purple bluish flowers and then the one petal and then the one white flower petal underneath it. The bees really seem to like it very much this morning. Here on the Lake Wales Ridge, we have some of the most rare and endangered plants any place in the country. So many of the plants that you could see here are plants that only exist here in Central Florida, no place else. So a unique habitat for sure. This is a great example of what drives this habitat. Most of the scrubland here in Florida is fire dependent, meaning that the plants only survive here when there are occasional fires. So here looks like a burnt log that was left over from the last time we did a control burn, which wasn't too long ago. So many of the plants are adapted to fire to survive the fire through a couple of different ways. Some plants their seeds will only sprout after a fire. Some plants can only survive when the overstory is burnt down, so they'll have the extra light. So there's a lot of different adaptations of the plants that live here. What I especially like about this scrub area in the Pine Ridge Trail here is the subtle beauty of it. You know, when we come here now, we see so many flowers, but many times of the year it looks very plain. So we're here at a really good time. It's so much is in bloom right now. Often these plants are overlooked. There's a great view of Bok Tower in the background. And then also um, a dead pine tree that we've left standing. And a lot of people ask about that. And you can see on the second branch down on the left, there's a woodpecker there. And that's the reason why we leave dead trees like that, is because it is great habitat for things like woodpeckers and other birds that build their nests there. So without that dead tree, we wouldn't have a home for that woodpecker that's up there. And I don't know if you could see it on the camera, but I could see it. Certainly made it his home. And we have Beautyberry getting ready to make those beautiful berries down there. Those green berries will turn a brilliant purplish color. On this side, we can really see how we're much higher up. And this is a long, skinny ridge that we're on right now. You can see how we tower over the citrus grove out in the distance. And then in the far distance, you can see another long, skinny ridge. I could really imagine when I look out on the distance here of what it was like prehistorically when these were little islands, the ancient islands. I can imagine the citrus grove as the ocean and just the tops of these ridges sticking above the water. Probably one of the highest one was where Bok Tower now sits on Iron Mountain. Over here we have a gopher tortoise burrow. It doesn't look used. It looks like it might have been a past burrow because I see a lot of plants sort of growing into it. So I'm not sure if a gopher tortoise is still there, but after they leave their burrow, other animals will also use it. So it's probably being used by other animals right now. So pretty. Well, thank you for going on the hike with me here on Take a Hike Tuesday, some of our favorite places. Remember to like, comment, and share the video as we're going. We're going to continue on and we're going to see Becky's favorite spot of the garden today.
Hi everyone, I'm Becky. I'm part of the education team here at Bok Tower Gardens, and we're showing you our favorite spots. So my favorite spot is a bit of a trail. It starts around the Dedication Monument, but people don't usually go down this mulch path. But this is one of my favorite spots in the garden. So won't you join me as we walk down this trail? We have some beautiful, beautiful flowers blooming right now on the trail as well. Of course, our large trees. Lots of shade here at the gardens, so even though it's summertime, you still can come out and enjoy the wide open spaces here with lots of shade. I'm going to head off the path just a little bit over here to kind of show you a really cool spot where you can even touch an oak tree. So this is a really large oak tree that has a couple of branches that come down really low, which is really beautiful. And you can see the ferns on this oak tree. And the ferns aren't hurting the tree, but they are on there. It's resurrection fern. So right now, the ferns are all nice and green and what I call floofy or fluffy because we've had a lot of rain. So they turn nice and green and lush when there's rain. And when there's not any rain and it gets really dry, they get brown and dried and they look brittle, but actually they're not dead. They're actually alive. When the rain comes, they turn nice and green and floofy again. So kind of a fun thing. It's resurrection fern. Makes sense with the name when you think about it. So we also have an assortment of caladiums down here. These caladiums have heart-shaped leaves. And so they come in lots of different colors. And you can see this one has beautiful green veins in the leaves, the white leaves. They also come in pinks, almost to a red color, greens, lots of different shades and variations on the leaves. They're all nice and heart-shaped. So in front of the gardens, when you walk in, right before you get to the visitor center, we have this really cool flower tower right now. And right now it's all planted with different types of caladiums. So that's a really cool thing to see as you come into the gardens and get your picture with that because it is a really beautiful display that we have out there at the front. But we also have caladiums also along some of the paths in the garden as well. So if we walk a little bit further, we're actually going to get to my favorite lawn. It's a small lawn, it's not a big lawn, but it has one beautiful big oak tree in the middle of it and beautiful ferns around it. And I always like to take my groups out here to see this area right here. So this is it. This is my favorite lawn. It's very simple. just some grass and this one beautiful oak tree behind me. And then, of course, lots of ferns, and we got some palm trees. And it's just a nice shady area and just really quiet. Lots of people don't quite get out to this section of the gardens. And then when we're in peak bloom, it's really beautiful because then the azaleas that you can see over here that are not blooming right now, but in February and March, they will be in bloom and they're beautifully pink. Lots and lots of pink flowers, just a riot of pink flowers all over these plants. And then it just makes this room even prettier. But I like it with all the different colors of green too. There's so many shades of green. It's amazing. It's a beautiful morning here in the gardens, and I'm glad you're joining us. Remember, if you are enjoying the video, remember to like, share, and comment for us. We're excited to share with you some of our favorite spots in the garden today. So we're going to kind of come up on an area where a lot of people actually do look for birds and other wildlife. We have a bird feeder out there. Sometimes, if we're really quiet, we can see some birds and maybe a bunny, but we'll see. You just never know here at the gardens what you're going to see. I see a couple of people doing the same thing we're doing, trying to get some pictures. Let's see. So we're walking from my favorite lawn pretty much towards Window by the Pond, and that's where the bird feeder is. But right now, I think because we had some guests taking some pictures, I don't see any birds, but I can hear them. I don't know if you can. I hope you can hear them, but I can hear them. So they're around, and we're going to go in between the Window by the Pond and the Endangered Plant Garden in just a moment, because I'm going to show you another secret mulch path. But like I said, we have lots of really pretty flowers blooming right now. Firebush is another one, and it's got this really pretty orange bloom on it. It's kind of a long tubular bloom. It's called Firebush, and it's really quite pretty. Oh, I hear those birds. It's a really great place to connect with nature here at the gardens. So this is a little trail that's right in between Window by the Pond and the Endangered Plant Garden, but not many people go down it. There's something kind of really special at the end, so I want to show you what that is. So we'll pass the Firebush. Wow, even more blooms on this one. So that is also Firebush. This path is a little narrow, but well worth going down when you see what we're going to find at the end. Oh, I hear the bells starting to chime in the background. All right, almost there. So kind of gonna go under this canopy of like bushes here. And we actually come to one of our nap benches here at the gardens. So when we walk up the steps, you'll see we have a couple of chairs and a really amazing view of some of our planted natural areas that we planted to show people what the natural areas look like. Now you were with Stephen, and Stephen was actually out in the Pine Ridge Trail and showed you the natural areas, which are beautiful as well. But these are some of the ones that we actually plant so the visitors can see without having to go out there if they don't want to. The great thing about this nap bench is that you can sit here and sometimes people will see you and they wonder, how in the world did you get there? Because it's not obvious. It's not obvious how you got here and you're sitting here relaxing under these lovely palm trees and they're wondering, how'd you get there? So now I've told you that little path between the Window by the Pond and the Endangered Plant Garden. That's how you get to this particular nap bench. We have a couple more in the gardens too. There's one out there on Pine Ridge Trail, and there's also one in Hammock Hollow, our children's garden. So you'll have to look for those yourselves. So I'm actually going to stay here, I think, and maybe take a little rest. Don't tell anybody. But Trisha is up next. So go have fun and see what Trisha's favorite spot in the garden is. And remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Trisha Martin, the Director of Education here at Bach Tower Gardens. And I had a really difficult time choosing my favorite spot because there are so many places in the gardens that I love. But I finally decided on this particular spot because this is a place where it celebrates where we are on the planet. And it also celebrates our founder, Edward Bach. So join me as we walk up the mountain and go to my favorite spot. This is a little bit off the beaten path on one of our mulch paths. Get to appreciate the bird song and a nice little breeze in the air. And here we are at the overlook. And you can see out towards Bartow and Mulberry this amazing vista. This is a spot that really gives you a sense of being high up. We have climbed to the summit of what's called Iron Mountain, 298 feet above sea level, one of the highest points in peninsular Florida. This is called the Lake Wales Ridge, and it was formed millions of years ago by deposits from the Appalachian Mountains washing down, and wind and wave action from the oceans forming a series of parallel dunes. And the Lake Wales Ridge is the longest of these dunes. And millions of years ago, when ocean levels were higher, these island tops evolved their own unique species. They were cut off from the mainland and from the rest of peninsular Florida. So we have plants and animals that are found here on the Lake Wales Ridge that are found nowhere else in the world. Bach Tower Gardens has a conservation program that seeks to protect these species and learn more about them so we can make sure that we keep the fabric of the ecosystem whole and we don't lose any of the pieces. This is also a really special place to Edward Bach, to our founder. And he had a home not very far from here. And he would walk up on this hilltop and he would enjoy the sunsets. And he dreamed of creating a garden. And it was really like planting seeds for a gift that will keep on giving. He came to this country as a young boy, just 6 years old, and his family had fallen on hard times. And he did all kinds of odd jobs, even washing windows in a bakery, and worked his way up to become incredibly successful and editor of Ladies' Home Journal. So he had his winter residence close by, and he would wanted to give back to America for all that America had done for him. So this place is really a an act of generosity by Edward Bach. I want to also take you over to this spot, which is across from the overlook, and this is called the Exedra, which is a Greek word for conversation area. And this is made of Georgia marble, the same materials that the tower is made of. so you get to see the marble up close and the beautiful colors. And this is actually a gift by Edward Bach's neighbors. They gave this as a way of paying it forward. So one act of generosity inspired another act of generosity. And I'm wondering what you might be inspired to do, how you can pay it forward, what act of kindness you could do for your sibling or your parents or just somebody you encounter along the way. Something as small as a smile or holding a door open for somebody. And then what I hope to leave you with is thinking about how you can make the world a bit better or more beautiful because you've lived in it. Those were the words that Edward Bach was inspired by his grandmother. She said that to him as a young boy, and he really took that to heart. So I want to leave you with that thought. How can you make the world a bit better or more beautiful because you have lived in it? Now I'm going to take you down to our children's garden coordinator's favorite spot, Kathy Houston. So she's going to show you what place in the garden she picked out that she wants to share with you.
Hello, I'm Kathy Houston, and welcome to my favorite spot, Pinewood Estates. Pinewood Estates gardens were also designed by the Olmsted family, and you'll notice, or Olmsted Jr., but you'll notice, like Olmsted Sr., that there's a style of design that includes outside rooms. So our first outside room we'll be entering into is this lovely courtyard. When I walked through this morning, there was a knoll sitting right on top of the sculpture's head. It was a very sweet moment. And here we are at this little kind of a kitchen garden that we have here. The door we just passed through that archway is the door to the kitchen, and here you could come right out and get some Okinawa spinach, some eggplants, and here we have another sitting area around this octagonal star, some mint for our tea. And just noticing this crepe myrtle. Have you ever seen a crepe myrtle that big? Isn't that astounding? Pretty amazing. And coming on here to where the moon gate is. And we have this lovely screened in porch on the pine wood. Imagine sitting here having your cup of coffee, listening to the sound of the moon gate. And you'll notice again the eight-sided shape or octagon. And the thought about the moon gate, so I've been told, there may be more to it than I've learned, is that when someone passes, that their spirit can go through the moon gate. And much like stepping into a river, that river will carry you, and then it can be difficult to get out of a river. Same idea here, where your spirit will be carried on to the afterlife, and then they don't have to worry about ghosts coming back in and haunting the place. So the story goes. This looks to be a Yaupon holly, which is also a plant that can be used for tea. Another feature I love in the Pinewood Estate Garden are these large planters that you see around. This lovely little succulent garden here. And down the hill here, there's actually another pond. And you can see the large planters around the pond, some benches, some lovely hidden benches. So this is a great little secret area that a lot of times people don't know about. It's I love the little pond. And coming back up towards the Pinewood Estate, just enjoying the architecture of the building. And we have some of our Tillandsia displays up. Another lovely screened-in patio, Florida room. And now we're making our way to across the side of Pinewood Estate. This is typically at Christmas time where we will have our bromeliad tree. And now we're back here at the front of Pinewood. You can kind of, again, see that sense of different rooms that one can sit in and find a private space even outside to read a book. Lovely bromeliads. And here we have our frog fountain. Currently, it's not on. And then we'll come down to probably one of my favorite spots, the grotto. Another little hidden treasure. If these planters alone aren't enough just to blow your mind. Little size comparison. Pretty cool. I love these things. Peek inside. Ooh, take a look at this fern just to see how it's unspiraling. Those Fibonacci spirals. Super cool. Wow, this is cool. Look at all those ferns. And here we are at the grotto. Sometimes too, on really rainy days, you'll have rain that's seeping through here and down into this area and connecting through. I did ask earlier, like what other little things. Typically, we have goldfish in here, but apparently we have a very satisfied raccoon around as well. So currently, the beauty is found in this lush vegetation. And you can even, just the temperature itself. I wish there was a way you could feel the temperature change. It's very cool. It definitely is an escape from the stress of the regular reality to bring yourself into a space like this. It's amazing. So we're going to go ahead and walk on up here. Apparently there's a bench up here. I want to see if I can find it. Oh, and plus, oh, look at this. This is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And then, oh my gosh, these things, I'm just crazy about them. With all this amazing moss, it's just so soft. It is amazing. I love it. And now we're going to come up behind the grotto. And our lovely orange trees here. Oh, lovely. And here we are. Thank you so much for joining us and seeing where our favorite spots are. And be sure that you like, share, and comment, and continue to participate with us in our Camp Bach events. And we'll continue to just have so much joy sharing with you. And we hope to see you on our next Take a Hike Tuesday as well. You have a great day. Thank you.